Guys, if you're anything like me, looking at maps has always been a huge part of my preparation and execution for my outdoor adventures. I have been using GoHunt digital maps on desktop and mobile for quite some time now. I have used these maps for years for my in-depth e-scouting tactics and my methods of using offline maps during the hunt. Well, now I'm happy to report GoHunt Maps now covers all 50 states. There's two ways to get the GoHunt map. You can sign up for a GoHunt Insider membership and get the benefits of all the draw odds, harvest statistics, unit breakdowns, strategy articles, as well as access to the 50 state maps, plus savings on gear for being an Insider member. Like right now, they're doing double points. For an Insider membership, sign up now at GoHunt.com, use the JScott promo code, and get a $50 GoHunt Gear Shop gift card just for signing up. You can also just sign up for a GoHunt Explorer membership, and that gives you access to 50 states for $50. Use the JScott promo code. Guys, also don't forget to get a 10% discount on gear at the GoHunt Gear Shop by using the JScott promo code. You can also reach out to my friend Cody Nelson of 20 plus years, either by phone or by text. 602-399-3699. Make sure you tell him I sent you. I want to thank GoHunt.com for their loyal sponsorship of my podcast. We're over 815 episodes in, and they've been with me since the beginning. I also want to thank Kuiu Ultralight Hunting for their sponsorship of this podcast. They provide the gear that I use on all of my hunting adventures. You can go to the Kuiu website directly, kuiu.com, order directly. They're a direct-to-consumer company. They make the best gear in the hunting industry, and I've been a loyal supporter of theirs for years. Also, phonescope.com. Go to phonescope.com, use the JScott or JScott22 promo code, and you're going to get a 10% discount at PhoneScope. Guys, thanks for listening to the podcast. Thanks for supporting me. If you have any questions or you'd like to send me a comment, the best way to do that is on my Instagram account at JScottOutdoors. Again, let's get right to this episode, and thanks for your support.
Welcome to the J. Scott Outdoors podcast. This is your guest host, Cliff Gray. On today's podcast, I'm joined by Robert Arrington, who is well known for his Deer Meat for Dinner YouTube channel. At this point, Robert's actually has 3.15 million subscribers on his channel, and it appears to me that it's continuing to grow rapidly. He does a lot of hunting and fishing adventures all over the country and world, but it seems to me that a lot of the content on his channel is focused there locally around his home in Jupiter, Florida. Is that right, Robert?
Yeah, you're pretty spot on there. I love to travel, but I love my home. Jupiter, Florida is my home. Born and raised here in South Florida, and doesn't matter what I'm doing as long as it's outside. I'm pretty stoked.
For sure. And I actually reached out to Robert because listening to all Jay's past podcasts, Jay actually interviewed Robert back in 2016. And I listened to it a couple days, and it was a couple days ago, actually. And it was really interesting to hear because at that point, I think he roughly had around 150,000 followers on YouTube. So, yeah, it's been 6 or 7 years, but talk about growing super rapidly. In that interview is one of my favorite episodes of the podcast. So any of the listeners out there, you should go out and check it out. And just so you guys know, I'm admittedly a huge fan of Robert's and the Dear Meat for Dinner channel. And the thing that's funny about it, Robert, is my kids are too. Your YouTube channel is one of my kids' favorite channel. It's like the one channel that we watch together as a family. So I'm going to ask you some questions about that because it's intriguing to me. My kids have been around the outdoors their entire life. And in some ways, I don't think, and they're young kids, they're all below 10 years old, but I don't think that I've done a great job of getting them excited about hunting and fishing, but they love your show. So we'll dig in that a little bit more. And just in general, I think, my personal opinion on your channel, Robert, is that everything in it seems so authentic. And I think that's why I like it. And I think that's why it's grown so much. So I encourage all the listeners, if you don't watch his YouTube channel, I think you guys would love it to go check it out. So, Robert, go ahead and give us a little brief intro on your end if you have anything that I missed and you want to mention.
Yeah, no, you pretty much nailed it there. The funny thing is, I remember clearly doing the podcast with Jay Scott, and I didn't remember how long ago that was, but the fact that it was 6 years ago and I had 150,000 subscribers like, wow, crazy. I didn't even think about that. But I don't really think about numbers of subscribers. I only think about one person. That's the person that's watching my video or talking to me or hanging out. I just think about that one person. And I'm a pretty straightforward guy. I can actually get really fired up and I can be really laid back. It's all dependent on the moment. YouTube, I don't look to make content. This is the life that I live. This is the life that I've wanted to live and prayed for my whole life. And so we just film what we do, and the content is part of that. Now, granted, we do make YouTube videos, but you never see me making like stupid challenges. I'm not into, I killed the biggest, or I caught my biggest. Man, I'm still there having a good time trying to do my best and then enjoy the outdoors and then learn as much as I can. I'm always inspired by the hunters west of the Mississippi, how they inherently are better marksmen with a rifle than everyone I know east of the Mississippi. Now, I'm sure there are exceptions to that rule, but I love seeing all the different hunters and all the different fishermen from all over the country, how there's these unique, specialized tendencies in every area. But if you look at hunting and fishing as a whole, it's all the same with just these unique tendencies in each area, And I love traveling around the country, meeting new hunters, meeting new fishermen, and hearing their take on hunters from other areas. So it's nice being on the phone with you. I know you guys crush it out west, and hopefully I get the invite one day to come out and spend some time with you in person and make a video where I can have you on my show.
Yeah, of course, man. I would. That would be awesome. And I think you hit on some stuff there that I wanted to get into, Robert. And I find it really interesting. So, the last decade of my life, in terms of my operating business, it was very like elk and mule deer centric. And I think that us as Western hunters, not everybody, but a segment of that world, and it could be marketing around it, or who knows, I don't really know, but we put up like that kind of, the hunting that we're interested in a pedestal. And a lot of people only focus on that one thing. And one thing I notice on your channel, Robert, is like you go into depth of like a lot of little niche, hunting, fishing, kind of little foraging things that nobody's even seen before. And there's like authentic energy when you're learning about it. Like I was watching one recently with coconut crabs. You're chasing coconut crabs. Is that what they're called?
Yeah, coconut crab. Their
And
real name is robber crab. They're out in the South Pacific and Central Pacific on islands.
okay, gotcha. And I could just tell, like, oh, he's really interested in like learning how these guys are catching these things. And I think that I grew up that way. It wasn't I only hunted mule deer, I only hunted elk. Like I hunted everything. And then in certain times of the season when it wasn't a hunting season, we went mushroom hunting, or whatever. There's a lot of different things you did. I think there's a lot of value in that, man. Like from somebody who wants to. Go ahead, Robert.
No, I was just saying 100%. Why do you think trappers are such good hunters? Why do you think people who hunt small game inherently become really good big game hunters? Because, man, it all works together. There's symmetry in the outdoors. I don't care whether you're archery hunter or rifle hunter or whatever hunter, you start out looking at the wind. If you're a hunter and the first thing you look at isn't the wind, then you're kind of trying to run to second base before you go to first base. And once you, I'm not a great trapper. I can go out and trap a coon maybe, but I'm not a great trapper. But I spend time with great trappers, and I love watching their attention to detail, figuring out how everything is working together, catching them, catching the predators that are hunting for the same game we're hunting for, understanding, how squirrels are in certain trees that have all the acorns, have all the ripe acorns in them right now. Understand if we can find the squirrels, guaranteed we're going to find the deer and turkeys also. it's just really unique when you see how it all works together. And that's what really inspires me, is to learn as much about it as I can, so that whenever I'm in any situation, and it doesn't matter if I'm in a sawgrass swamp here in South Florida or if I'm on the edge of a mountain out west, man, it all works together. And the more knowledge you have packed away in your bank, the more you can apply it to different situations. And surrounding myself with true hunters, not just guys who can go kill something, but dudes who are straight gangsters, like have forgotten more than most people know. Those are the people that I want to spend time with, rub shoulders with, and pick their brain.
Yeah, no, I totally hear you, Robert. And I think there's and tell me if you have a different opinion, but I also think it's just there's a practical component of it, is like, we can't only hunt deer season, or we can't only hunt elk season, or our exposure over our lifetime is really limited. I mean, of course, somebody can do that, but if they really want to, become more proficient at a whole skill set in the outdoors, they have to kind of look beyond just, one species or one very specific thing, just from an exposure perspective. You know what I mean?
I
Um,
I think you'd be shocked how many people are very monodimensional. Like, they hunt one thing, maybe two. And maybe out west it's different. I know a bunch of people that are very monodimensional. They're friggin' really, really, really good at what they do, but they don't do a lot of different things. They just are really hyper focused on archery hunting for whitetails, or you know what I mean, or
yeah, and
different fishing techniques.
they get really good at that.
Super good, and then typically that same guy will be like hyper focused on turkey hunting in the spring. And I'm not knocking them at all, because I mean, I could rattle off some names right now that are dudes who are amazing hunters, but they don't have any interest in hunting anything else or trapping anything else, or it's just, that's what they do, that's who they are, that's what they do, and they're proficient at it.
Yeah, and I know a lot of individuals that way too, and it may be that I'm looking at it from like my own personality perspective. I just can't imagine only doing one. Maybe that's what it is, Robert.
100%. And I'm the same way. Like, to me, people, my number one question is, what do you like more, hunting or fishing? I like them both. Absolutely equal. One makes me better at the other. If you ask me, like, midsummer, I'm starting to think about, all I can think about is opening day of lobster season, mini season for lobsters. The very second I get done catching those lobsters, ask me the exact same question, and I'll tell you, all I can think about is August 15th, opening day of gator season.
Yeah.
As soon as that gets done, as soon as I get done with that, I'm thinking about, whether it's early season hunting whitetails and green beans in like Kentucky or something, or if I have the opportunity to go out and elk hunt out west. And then you're starting to look at everything you're going to do in the fall during the rut. Like right now, we leave on Wednesday and we're going to drive all over the country and go on some pretty stellar hunts. And this variety is the spice of my life. I personally can't do the same thing over and over and over and over again and just become super focused on that. I lose my passion for it. Doing everything just makes me enjoy all of it that much more. And that's the great thing about being an individual. You can do what you individually enjoy.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And then that's reflected in the content on your YouTube channel. And to dig into that a little bit deeper, Robert, is I think I've heard your background a little bit. It sounds like you were a captain for a while, and you worked in the outdoors industry, correct?
Correct.
And
Yeah.
so,
So I was
go ahead.
a captain for a family for a long time, and we fished all over creation. I was also a host an underwater cameraman on a show called Real Adventures, where we traveled all over the world big game fishing. And then I had my own TV show called Respect Outdoors on Sportsman Channel for a few seasons or a few years. And that was pretty cool. But along the way, you meet these really rad guys that say something to you that at the time you're like, what? In your head, you're trying to figure out what they just said, and are they messing with you or are they being serious? For example, whenever we were in Costa Rica fishing and I was captain working for the family, anytime I wasn't taking our family fishing, either the family that I worked for, or if I didn't have guests on the boat, I would always go mate on another boat or shoot camera work for that other boat. And one day I was on a boat with Dave Nolan called the Double Trouble, and jump on the boat. And I'm like, Dave, where are you going to start out today? He said, I don't know. I'm going to go around the rock and just figure it out on the way out. I'm like, you can't be serious, because me as a young captain, I'm like 28, 29 years old at the time. Every single day I had a plan of exactly where I was going and exactly what I was going to do. Well, here I am with this legend, Dave Nolan, and he's like, yep, we're going to round that rock and figure it out as we go. And as we're running out, about halfway through the spot, he's like, looks like a good spot right here. Pulls him back. Next thing you know, we're tight. We've got 3 or 4 sailfish on, and we make an amazing day. We only run half the distance that I would have ran. But what I learned was, he didn't have a preconceived notion of what needed to happen. He was open-minded and used his eyes and not what he thought. And all of a sudden, he was open to what he saw. Oh, look at that big break right there. Look at all this logs floating. Like, it looks beautiful right here. Why am I going to run to where all the other 35 boats are running to? He stops half the distance and crushes the fleet. Later that night, I couldn't sleep. I could not sleep thinking, wow, I thought he was joking, but he wasn't joking. He was being serious. So from then till now, I try to never make a preconceived notion of exactly where I'm going. I try to say, hey, this is what I want to accomplish, and I believe to do that, we need to be in this area, but I'm going to freaking pay as close attention as I can all the way, so that if I see something, I'm not pot committed to go to where, I've already made up my mind I'm going to. And I do that with deer hunting now as well. I do that with everything. I did that with a show we filmed in Louisiana a couple years ago. I hop on the boat with the guy. He tells me it's going to be an hour-and-a-half run. We're like 10 minutes from the lodge. I'm like, well, why don't we try them birds right over there? He's like, no, them birds aren't on anything. I'm like, right. But it's perfect condition. Let me make a couple casts. If we don't catch them, that's going to add to the story. First cast, bow. Second cast, bow. Literally 20 minutes later, we've filled the boat. We've limited out on trout. We've caught 3 or 4 big bull reds. And I looked at him. I'm like, go back to the lodge. We're done, man. All we got to do now is go clean it and make lunch, and we're done. He's like, there's no way. I'm like, I'm telling you, we've got more footage than we could possibly do. We ran 10 minutes from the lodge, but instead of running past something, we just stopped and gave it a try. And we do the same thing with hunting. Sometimes you're like, I know I've got to walk 4 miles in, but like 400 yards in, you see something, you're like, if I saw that where I believe I needed to go, I would hunt that. But because it's not as far in as I believe I need to be successful, I'm not going to worry about that. But maybe you and every other person thought the exact same thing, and you all walked 4 miles past what has a lot of really cool opportunity. And me being a flatlander, that's always a good thing.
Yeah. Man, Robert, like you hit on a concept that I, for years, is like, it's so evident in all of the hunting that I did over the last decade, and all that guiding. It applies so heavily. And I actually think that in a lot of ways, it's gotten a little bit more intense because, with YouTube, all the different tools that a hunter has to go out west, they can like micromanage their plan down to, I'm going to this exact pinpoint on my map. I'm going up this exact trail. Like they can kind of, I mean, planning's a good thing, but they can micromanage that plan to every little nitty gritty thing. And then I notice exactly what you're talking about. There's not a kind of a flexibility as they get into their trip to adjust. And I think that you pinpointed a skill set that people can develop is like, look, like our brains as hunters and fishermen, it's like a supercomputer. So take all those variables in as you start on your plan and adjust if it makes sense.
100%, man. I think so many people spend so much time planning and coming up with this concept, which that's great. Hey, that's awesome. But many people don't spend near enough time on the range with their rifle or their bow, shooting from a variety of different positions, a variety of different ranges, a variety of different uh, clothing. Are you dressed super warm? Are you dressed super light? I mean, prepared to the hilt to make that shot, because when it all boils down, whether or not you can make the shot and make it count, that's truly the difference. And you can do all the scouting and all the planning you want, but if you don't make the shot, then you kind of got the cart before the horse. So I try to spend as much time as I can shooting and being proficient with what I'm going to shoot. Although I did wound a hog a couple days ago. Let's not go, I'm not trying to preach to somebody, because everyone can make a stupid shot, and that was on me. And it's on video, and I showed it on video, and it's kind of embarrassing. But neither here nor there. I try to be honest and truthful. So
Yeah, no, I hear you. And a question popped up in my head, and this might be like a little philosophical, but I'm curious, Robert. When I watch your channel, and I see you have this massive viewership, what's interesting to me is I think probably, just statistically, probably 2/3 of the people that consistently watch your channel and just love watching the adventures that you get to go on, they may go fishing once a year. They may never go fishing or hunting. Why do you have an idea of why, what stops people from taking the leap into doing these activities? Because I look at, you have such a huge audience, and I can tell by how many views your videos get. Like, your audience watches your channel consistently. It's not like you have 3 million followers and then your videos have 5,000 views. I mean, people are watching, consistently watching your channel. I know a certain segment of them are not engaging in the outdoors. Do you have a thought on that? Like, what would get people to take the leap?
that's such an awesome question, and that's such a fascinating topic. Imagine you Imagine you're just some fella, got your boy or your daughter, or maybe it's just you, and you want to get into the outdoors, but you never had a dad or a grandpa or anybody to show you. Do you feel comfortable walking into Bass Pro Shops, walking up to the counter and saying, "Look, fellas, I know nothing. I don't know anything, but I'd kind of like to learn." No one does that. This
Right.
world that we live in is so friggin' intimidating. No one does that. Okay, so then what do? In my opinion, they go to YouTube. Then they find different influencers that they connect with, and they start watching. Some of them are going to be like empowered and say, "He can do that, and he's given me the inspiration that I too can do that." And some of them try it. Some of them are successful. Some of them are unsuccessful. But then you have some people, which are the people you're talking about, who are intrigued by this. But I believe in my heart they just find the satisfaction of watching it, where they say, you know what, I would like to do that, but I think I'm good just watching it. I think I'm just good watching it. And whenever I make my videos, I want to give people the tools to feel empowered to try to do this. I'm not a really hyper detailed guy where I'm saying, okay, part A, this is what you want to do. Part B, this is what you want to do. I make a video and I give just enough detail and instructions so that people understand what I'm doing. But I'm not doing a how-to video on them to how to do it. You understand what I'm saying? It's
Oh
like,
yeah. No, I know exactly, Robert, because I've like stalked your videos, and you have a skill, like I don't know if it's natural to you or not, but the exact dynamic you're talking about is very apparent in your videos. Like and tell me if I'm wrong, but it looks like early on you did some more like how-to stuff, and then you've migrated where it appears to me that there's tons of knowledge you put in there, but it's easy to absorb for anybody.
that's my real goal. Your people, in my opinion, I have friends that based upon my depth of work making YouTube videos, I've developed friends that work for YouTube.
Sure.
And it's funny, we have this discussion how YouTube used to be a highly instructional platform. People went to YouTube specifically to learn things. And to a degree, they still do. But YouTube has become more of an entertainment platform than an instructional platform, where previously it was more of an instructional platform with a component of entertainment. That's completely flip-flopped now. Now it's an entertainment platform. So I have to make an entertaining video, which is what I want to do in the first place.
Sure.
But I throw in education into there. I always try to have three components. I want to have an overall entertaining feel. It has to have an educational aspect, and it has to have a comedy aspect. I want to at least make one kind of joke, or I want to make somebody smile or giggle at twice in my video. And if people can learn a bit, laugh a bit, and feel entertained for 20 or 30, 15 to 20 minutes, then you've done your job for the day. And if you can do that 2-3 times a week, then I feel that you've become useful to somebody, useful to that certain person. And anybody out there, if you're a social media influencer, stop looking at how many subscribers you have, because they're all one. Your subscribers and your followers are just one people. It's just one person. Now, you may have 1 million of them stacked up, but if you look past one, then you've gotten out of line. Only one person watches your video at a time. So whenever I'm making a video, and whenever I'm talking to the camera, and whenever I'm trying to tell a story, I'm telling that story to only one person. And anybody who knows anything about talking, you speak differently to one person than you do to a crowd. So when you're making a video, when you're trying to address somebody, speak to one person. And that's what I do. And that's why I appreciate so much each and every subscriber that I have, the people that enjoy my channel and really follow along and are so respectful and happy. That's why I say, what's up, happy people?
Yeah, sure. No, I totally, I see where you're coming from, Robert, and it comes through. It for sure comes through, in your videos, and it's stunning to me, watching like what you just said, like you do that 2 or 3 times a week, and I have a small YouTube channel, nothing even relatively close to the size of yours, but I am like doing them. I think it's hard if you haven't created content to realize that that's a lot, man. Like, it's stunning to me that you're capable of doing that. I know you have a family. I know you have other things going on, and I just mean like the capacity of the day. I mean, it sounds like you do your own editing. It looks like, and tell me if any of this is wrong, Robert, but it looks like you have some cameraman help. but looks like even you do a bit of your own self-filming still. How do you like? What's the workflow? I think it might be. I mean, it's for sure interesting to me, just selfishly, but I think some of the listeners might be interested in that too.
Yeah, so that's cool that you ask. I've got two full-time guys that work for me, and I try to look at life as a wheel, and that wheel needs to be round. You need to incorporate time for God, time for your family, time for your wife, time for your kids, time for work, and time to sleep. And if any of those start taking up too much time, the wheel sort of gets out of balance and you're running rough. And as a man, gosh, I want to work all the time because I feel like things are really good and I want to just dump all my time into that. Well, if all of your time goes into that, then it gets out of balance and you're riding rough. And so therefore, having two really good guys work for me helps out a ton. Now, I actually had an editor for about a year, and I felt that by the time he would cut a show, then I would go in and I would start for 2 or 3 or 4 hours. I would start manipulating his show to fit my narrative. I'm like, well, dang, I could have done this myself. And so editing for me is how I tell my story. And
Sure.
it's very hard for you. Like, let's just say you called me on the phone and told me this amazing story that's very easy to follow. And then I had to call Jay. Hey, Jay Scott, man, look, let me tell you this story. And I repeat the story you told me. There's no way I repeat it properly. And that's kind of how editing is. That's someone else taking the story that we explained to them and then them editing it into what actually happened. And I just don't feel that it's authentic, and I don't feel that it works for me. So I love to edit. And some days it's easy, some days it's hard. Right now I'm doing a really complicated video that makes me want to hire another editor. But that's what life isn't easy. Life is hard.
Sure.
But like that motivational speaker Les Brown always says, hey, life is hard. And when it's hard, do it hard. And I always think of that. When you're in a bind and you're just bogged down, you're like, life's hard. Do it hard. And there's no secret recipe for hard work. It's simply hard work. Getting with it, getting down, getting it done.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And that kind of follows on to my next question, Robert, and it reflects more on like your history as somebody who is actually, out, as a captain, or actually taking people fishing, basically enjoying the ocean in that regard when you were working for that family, and then migrating to this content creation around the outdoors. I guess my basic question is, which one did you enjoy more? Do you have nostalgia for just having to worry about the practical aspects of taking people fishing? Is there things you miss about that, or do you view this new world of outdoor content is much I guess much more enjoyable to you? I'm just curious.
I love being a content creator. I love making YouTube videos. I enjoyed my time as a captain, but all of us go through a maturation process in life based upon our experiences. As a captain, you travel a lot. You're beholden to another family's schedule, and the things that I learned along the way. Now, granted, I worked for a really cool family that let me do tons of cool stuff, but you're still beholden to them and their schedule. Now, remember whenever I was a young captain running down to the Southern Bahamas and all over creation, and I just remember thinking, there's no way I get paid to do this. And I took so much pride in my job. But as I've matured, now I'm married. I have two beautiful little girls, Aria and Emma. They're 5 and 6 years old. Sarah and I have been married for 8 years. And I'm like, there's no way I could be a captain right now. There's just no way. I love what I do. But I take the experiences that I learned as a captain and morph that and turn that into the way that I deal with my guys so that they have plenty of time to go away, so that whenever they're on trips with me, there's no trip that my camera guys ever go on that they're not heavily involved with the hunting and the fishing. So
Sure.
that's just a big part of working with me. I could really care less who shoots the animal or who catches the fish. I want to tell the story.
Yeah.
And having my crew feel like they belong and that they're a absolute integral part of everything that's going on is massively important to me.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And it's amazing to hear you talk about it, Robert, because telling the story, like that's like being a storyteller in this stuff that's the hardest part, like by a mile. Yeah, and I think yeah, I mean, I even, I've dipped my toe in this a little bit, and from my perspective, and it could be unique to me, but that seems to be like the most difficult thing to develop is to be a good storyteller, and you've nailed it. And I think that's obviously reflected in your channel, and that's why me and my kids will sit down and watch an episode of your show like every few days. And what's crazy, Robert, is like, so I've got a 10-year-old daughter, an 8-year-old daughter, and a 5-year-old boy, and they will watch it with me. They enjoy it, and then I enjoy it as a adult. And I don't know. I'm imagining that wasn't your purpose to be totally broad, appealing to everybody, but you are. Do you have any thoughts on that? I guess a little context for me is my kids, Robert, like since they were baby. I mean, I have pictures of my little daughters, holding up bull elk and stuff when they were like, 3 years old. They've been around the whole time, like they're sitting on pack mules or whatever. They've been around it their whole life, and they don't show like a really like a robust interest in it. It's just something that they've always been around. But it's weird with your show.
Right.
They're like, let's watch Dear Meat for Dinner. I'm like, yeah, let's do it, because like they're excited about it. So, what are your thoughts on that, man?
You're gonna have to edit. You're gonna have to edit this part because I forgot your original question. I was so no. I got it now.
I went into 5 different questions. So it's not your fault.
Well, no, I was thinking of so many things there, and I know what you were asking now. I was coming up with an answer to what you were saying, and I got lost in that. But now I'm
it was 3-paragraph question. That's what I get.
No,
but no,
cool. So
just go for it.
Here's the answer to this, and I'm gonna give you a illustration. I was doing a meet and greet at the Harrisburg Great American Outdoors Show like 4 years ago, 3, 4, 5 years ago, something like that. And there's a line of people coming by to take pictures and say hi and whatnot. And in the line, there were 2 little like 5-year-old twin girls. Now this is all like the next 5 people in line. I had 2 5-year-old twin girls, probably a man in his 70s, a football player from Purdue or Rutgers, and 2 cheerleaders from Mississippi State. This is no joke. And I said, so when the little girls walked up to get a picture, I'm like, are y'all all together? None of those people knew each other. I had a football player, 2 cheerleaders, a man in his 70s, and 2 5-year-old twin girls. None of them knew each other. And there's, 100 people behind them. But I remember saying, how on earth do my videos resonate with people such that cross-section of human beings are willing to walk up here and want to take a picture? Not to mention the football player and the 2 cheerleaders both drove a long way to come there and say hi. Like, that was such an incredible honor to me. meant so much to me. And I believe, why does that happen? The only thing I can come up with, because I'm not doing it on purpose, the only thing I can come up with is that it's real. And in a world full of fakeness today, people are drawn to being real. And, whether it's an outdoor video or what it may be, when they're watching somebody and it's real and it's, just authentic, maybe people enjoy it. I don't know. I can't answer why it happens, but I definitely know that it does happen. And I'm honored to have families sit down and watch my channel. So
Yeah, sure.
pretty
No,
cool.
I hear you, man. I guess a tag along question. How old are your daughters, Robert?
5 and 6.
What's like your, this might be a little bit of a personal question, but what's your approach to the outdoors with them? Are you what
So
you have
such
like a timeline, and
great.
how you going to introduce them?
So Emma, my 5-year-old, she loves tools and building things. So Sarah, my wife, is crazy. She can build anything. When we built our home, she was like, she worked here every single day. Anything that has to be put together, Sarah puts it together. And Sarah's also an amazing hunter and loves to fish. Well, Emma is really following in that mold. Yesterday, I was out on the porch putting together a lead sled, and Emma wanted to know everything about that. And I'm explaining to her an Allen wrench and how to hold this wrench, turn this Allen wrench, and she loved it. Aria could care less. Aria just wanted to know what gun we were going to be shooting out of that lead sled. And when the lead sled was done, call her, because she would love to be the one to use it. So Emma likes to build things. Aria loves to shoot, whether it be her bow or her gun or whatever Aria loves to shoot. Aria loves to fish. She can snorkel and free dive. I mean, I've had her free diving almost 30 feet by the time she was 4. So holding her breath, swimming down 30 feet at 4 years old. So she's real. But now everyone, I have a lot of friends. God bless them. I absolutely have nothing against this. But their little kids are hunting, shooting deer and hogs and turkeys and whatnot. And that's great. I have made the decision. I don't want Aria to shoot anything until she fully understands the difference between life and death, and that this animal that we're hunting is food. Now, she's been out on hunts with me and Sarah. She blood trails game with us. She comes back. She helps us clean game. And so she's really worked at 6 years old. She has a breadth of knowledge, but she just hasn't got there where I feel like, yeah, I'm going to let her take that shot. And I also have another feeling and another belief. It's called resistance creates desire. So anything that you have freely, you don't really want a lot.
Right,
there needs to be resistance there. There has to be tension there so that you want it. And whenever I grew up, we had nothing. I mean, I look back at the gear that I hunted and fished with. It was garbage. But guess what? I loved it. I was so proud to have what I had. We worked so hard to use it and to use it to the best of our abilities. Now, here we are where I have tons of really cool sponsors that I have, and no matter what gear I want for the girls, you can have it like, here it is.
Sure.
And so I manage that. How do I make them realize that this is something you have to work for? And so what we've done is the girls, they have their little cards, their little cash cards, and everything that they do in the house, whether it's make their bed, their homework, reading books, helping with dishes, there's a monetary value on everything that goes onto their card. And then whatever they want, they have to know that the money that's on their card will pay for that. And so now we're making them buy their own gear so that it's just not given to them. And, kids don't come with manuals. You have to figure it out. And, it's like, it's a moving target. You're trying to learn every single day. And, spending time. I think the most valuable thing in the world that I can do with my children and my wife is just spend time with them. Kids don't care what you do with them. Do anything with them. And they love it. So
yeah, no, I hear you. That's your advice, and I think you got a lot of. I'm like lost for words because my kids are like the same age. I'm like, yeah, these are very, very good points, and I think a lot about it the same, Robert. When I was a kid, like getting in the hunting, getting a new jacket or something like that, I used to have to save money for it. You know what I mean? And
dude, and I would get the Cabela's catalog, and I would go through and I would start circling everything. And they had like that order form in the back. Like, I'm 46, I'm older than you probably, but in the back they had the order form. So I would write down everything that I wanted and then total it up. Well, I knew that I never had enough money to buy everything that I wanted. So then I would start deleting the things that I wanted the least until I reduced the number to what I could actually buy. And that's how I got.
Yeah.
And then and then the box would come. You'd be so stoked to open the box, and I can still remember the way things would smell coming out of that box. And we're talking over 30 years ago. And now, like with Ari and Emma the other day, Sarah did something so cool. Sarah's my wife, by the way. But the girls both wanted new bikes, and they both had X amount of dollars. So Sarah said, okay, girls, here's the deal. Let's look at the new bikes online. This is what they cost on Amazon or wherever. She said, let's see if we can find these bikes on Marketplace and buy them used. So she found them new, and she found them new or used on Marketplace. Both girls bought their bikes off of Marketplace so that they could save money.
Oh,
they
cool.
didn't care that they were used. They bought them used so they could save money because they earned that money.
Sure. Yeah, no, I totally hear you. And it's great. It takes work to manage that process. It'd be so much easier for you guys to just give them the new bikes, right?
Right.
But yeah, no, I'm totally with you on that. Your Cabela story made me smile a little bit, because you know what I used to do, Robert, is at Christmas I used to go under the tree like Christmas morning, and you can always tell what boxes have shotgun shells in them because they're heavy, So I would like pick up the one, and I would know before we started opening presents. Like my family, we would eat. My mom had like a specific breakfast she'd make. So we'd do all that, and then we'd open presents. But before we ate breakfast, like I knew exactly how many boxes of shotgun shells were under that tree.
Isn't that great? Now, what's the breakfast your mom made?
What's that?
What's the breakfast that your mom
she used to make this stuff called monkey bread, which is like cinnamon roll balls that are like cooked into like a circular cake. And
my gosh, that sounds...
I can like smell it right now in my mind.
Isn't
It's funny how we develop those things.
That's what life is. To me, life is about this bundle of memories, and it's up to you to make those memories. And the more wonderful memories that you make, the bigger your bundle is. And it's like a big bundle of flowers that smell good and are just epic. And I'm on this mission in life to make as many memories as I possibly can. And, whenever you hear about you, as soon as you were talking about, well, my mom would make this certain breakfast, instantly, I'm thinking about my mom making deer meat. I'd be out in the woods playing, on the southeast side of our house there as a kid. In the afternoon, when we have a predominantly southeast wind, and Actually, I would have been on the northwest side of our house. The wind would be coming out of the southeast. And
Sure.
anytime I'd smell deer meat, she didn't have to call my name, because as soon as I smelled that fried deer meat, I was going home, because that's my favorite thing in the world to eat. And which is funny, because Dear Meat for Dinner is the name of my channel now. And so
Yeah.
I love memories. I love those things that mold us into who we are.
Yeah, no, I totally hear you, Robert. And Robert, I want to be respectful of your time here. You got time for one more question?
Yeah, man, I'm sitting at the counter enjoying my conversation with you. I hope all the viewers out there just enjoying this conversation. I've never met you in person. You've never met me in person. So just having a conversation like this, I enjoy this. And so, yeah, man, shoot away.
Yeah, for sure. And in the before I ask this question, it's very interesting. This social media deal and the amount of content that someone like you puts out, it creates an interesting dynamic. And I've noticed this in a microcosm in my world from doing these podcasts and just over the years having some content around, whatever, magazine articles or whatever about, guiding trips or whatever I've done over the years, is people who you don't know tend to know you pretty well. Like, honestly, Robert, in my little brain, I know you really well. You know what I mean? I know what your wife looks like, your kids look like. I know where you live. It's kind of
Yeah.
it's really kind of odd, and I'm sure given the huge audience you have, you run into that a bit. Is like, oh, these people like really know they know me. I just don't know them yet, I guess, is the idea.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm a really low key, chill guy. I don't hang around with a lot of people. I'm super into my family. I'm really easy to get along with, but I do have this crazy Tom Brady side of me, like when at critical moments. And that's why I'm a huge Tom Brady fan, is because I just love that freaking ferocious side that he has at critical moments. And, here recently I had a issue with a youngster on my ranch where things weren't going proper, and he knew they weren't going proper, and I had to lay into him pretty bad, and
I got
it
you.
got pretty ugly. And people are like, no one knows that side about you. I'm like, yeah, well, you know what? They don't, but they would probably understand it if they heard me, if they knew the
Yeah,
situation. So care. I don't care. I don't care that someone doesn't know that. I'm
right.
dealing with a situation here, and I'm serious about life, and I'm serious about what I do, and I would do anything for somebody. I just really, once you've earned respect, you should demand the respect, and you should demand things. Thank God, demand is such a bad word. It's not the word I'm looking for,
Yeah,
but
yeah. No, I
when you
I, I get where you're coming
respect
from.
things, you have to stand up for yourself, and you have to stand rock solid on what you believe in. And being a content creator, my little brother, he's got a channel as well. His name's Blue Gabe. I was talking to him the other day, and he was like, well, my audience, I was getting a comment saying this and a comment saying that, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Gabe, your audience doesn't actually know you. They know what
Yeah,
you tell them. They know what you show them. Now, granted, over a decade, your audience has a pretty good feel for who you are and what you're doing. But my rule of thumb is take the top 20% and the bottom 20% of all your comments and read them with a grain of salt.
yeah,
You
sure.
want to see what the overall gist of your comments are. And with my channel, for example, the number one thing that I hear is, man, thank you so much for making content that my family can enjoy. Thank you for making content that we can all enjoy as a family. And that's what I really lean into, is just continuing to make content for the families that are looking for something real and want to enjoy the outdoors. And some things they can do, some things they're watching strictly for entertainment purposes. And I, I just try my best to be as real as I can, so that when people like you, when you watch my channel, you say, I know that guy. well, this really truly is me. But
Sure. Yeah. But I totally hear where you're coming from. It's, there's yeah, I know you, but I know the aspect of you that's on the videos, the energy and excitement for the outdoors, and you portray that.
I guess what I was really to get at is, you know who I am. My audience knows exactly who I am. And I think everybody should know that nobody's perfect. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Nobody's
sure.
perfect.
Yeah.
Everybody in the world has things that they're proud of, and they have things that they wish they could do over with again. And, there's been times where I'm running so behind and like I'm just crazy. I'm trying to get something done because I've got to be somewhere. And then you go into a store and next thing you know, you've got 7 fans that want to say hi. And I love that. Like, I love when fans say hey. And I'll sit around for an hour and just shoot the breeze with them. But it's that 1 out of 100 times where you're like, guys, man, let's take a picture as fast as possible because I can't
You got
be
stuff
here
to
long.
do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and I hope I didn't rub that guy the wrong way. I hope I didn't come across as disrespectful to them, because I really do appreciate people. I appreciate the people who enjoy watching my video very, very much.
Yeah. No, and I think that comes across, Robert. Like, even you just discussing it, I can tell you have like a intrinsic concern about that, but you have to live your life. In my way lower exposure to it, I'm actually a very introverted individual. Like, if somebody sees me at a hunting show or something, I think they're always like, "Oh, this guy's a weirdo." It's like, no, I don't personally get like I don't get a ton of, like, if I run into people, like, I'll have I really enjoy talking to hunters.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Do you know Bo Brooks?
I don't.
Bo, he's like a world champion elk caller and turkey caller. And I was introduced to him at a hunting show one time, and I didn't know who he was. And so I'm like in the midst of talking to like 100 people, and he just looked like this quiet dude, And in Austin, one of my camera guys, he's like, Rob, that's like the best turkey and elk caller in the world. I'm like, come on, Austin. There's no such thing. And all of a sudden, this guy starts making cow calls and elk calls and turkey calls. And I'm like, are you kidding me? When you're at a store show, you never know who you're going to meet. And the best hunters in the world are people who thrive in complete solidarity.
Yeah.
It's true.
Some of them, you've taken them way out of their natural habitat when they're walking around some sort of trade show or something.
Right.
Yeah. No, I totally hear you. It's kind of a funny world.
It's been phenomenal to chat with you. You seem like just a fantastic guy. We're going to be heading out to Colorado over Thanksgiving. I'm taking Sarah on an elk and mule deer hunt. It's a rifle hunt, and really excited about that. She's wanted to kill an elk for a long, long time, and I felt like a rifle hunt would be her best opportunity to do that. So we're going to do it. And,
what general region of Colorado, Robert?
No, 3.
Okay, gotcha. And you guys are elk hunting and deer hunting, or just elk hunting?
Yeah, elk and deer. We both have mule deer tags, or we both have deer tags and elk tags.
Awesome. I'm guessing that some videos will come out of it.
Oh, bro, for sure, man. And to me, Sarah gets so fired up. She's wanted to elk hunt forever. This will be her first time, and she's got her gun all ready. She's shooting a 7mm Magnum, and she's just ready. She can't wait. Neither can I.
That's awesome. One question on that, and then I'm going to let you go, Robert. On hunts like that, or hunts in general, do you ever, and I want to hear your honest perception, do you ever want to just leave the camera and your microphone and all that in the truck, or do you get more value from doing the video stuff?
No, 100% film. I enjoy filming. Now, like yesterday, I guided a couple fellas on my ranch. They were out. I cooked dinner for a bunch of people out on my ranch yesterday. And this one fella, he's 72 years old. He wanted to go on a hog hunt. And I told him, I said, look, man, we're going to have to do this really crazy stalk through a sawgrass marsh up into these oaks. And we're going to work for, a mile or two into the wind through these oaks, but it's going to be thick and it's going to be crazy. And he's like, man, I'd love to do that. And so I didn't bring any cameras, nothing. I just wanted to spend 100% of that time with that guy. And, we got really, really close to this big old doe white-tailed deer, but we didn't see any hogs. But he and I had a great time just working into the wind, watching the squirrels. I sat down. I'm like, let's just sit down right here for 10 minutes and see what we hear. And this doe comes walking in across the wind. She couldn't smell us. She walked to within like 4 steps of us. And he's just laying on the ground there, and this deer walks right by us. So epic. So we didn't kill anything at all. We didn't even see a wild hog. But it was such a wonderful time. No cameras, no nothing. And that was wonderful. But if I'm going to go on a hunt, or if I'm going to go on a hunt with Sarah, I absolutely want to film it. Just because, but like, if something epic happened and I didn't have it on video, I would be like, what is wrong with me? Like, yeah. I love capturing stuff on film. And anytime you're filming a hunt, man, it multiplies the difficulty by at least 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, dude.
In my opinion.
Yeah, you nailed it, Robert. It's been, people ask me over the years, and I like doing the content stuff, and I love videoing stuff, but people have asked me like, man, do you like, what do you got for old videos and stuff? And it's like, man, it's so difficult. It's almost like a different weapon choice, right? It's like from going from, muzzle loader to archery equipment. That, to me, that's how filming a hunt is. It's like, it's literally, the difficulty added is like, it's like a weapon downgrade. You know what I mean?
100%. Well, think about this. Whenever you're filming, automatically you're making twice the amount of noise. You're putting out twice the amount of scent. You've got to take up twice the amount of room because you've got 2 people. And then most people, so if you're there, you've got your bow, you've got your gun, and there's your shooter buck or big bull. The second the opportunity arises, let the arrow go. And you don't have to, when you're filming, everything is doubled, but then you have to worry making sure that your camera guy is in the right position so that you can shoot it and he can film everything all simultaneously. It is really stinking hard.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It gives you this element of really cool satisfaction when it all comes together. Like when we were out in the Northern Mariana Islands on a giant sandbar deer hunt. Like, this is probably the most special hunt of my life. There are these little flimsy trees that there was really no way to get into, but if you wanted to see, you had to get into these little trees. I'll actually, when we get off the podcast, I'll send you a link to this video.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite videos of all time. But so I knew I got to make some kind of sling. So I ran into town. I got some rope. I took a couple towels and I tied these towels into slings and made like a trapeze that we could sit in this tree. And I wound up killing like just the biggest sandbar deer I've ever seen in my whole life that afternoon. And that's hunting, that's figuring out an obstacle, overcoming, and being prepared to make a good shot, and it all working together. And we got it all on video, and it was just one of those absolute perfect scenarios.
Yeah, man, I think you nailed it in terms of how to frame that filming. And I'm sure there's tons of listeners to this podcast that enjoy filming their own hunts. Not even for distribution to distribute on YouTube or whatever, maybe just to have. And I think, one of the challenges for me, Robert, is I've changed my mindset about it. It's not an inconvenience; it's another challenge. Because if you view it as an inconvenience, you're always gonna like, I mean, I have an oryx hunt I did, and I have it all on video, but I don't have, harvesting the oryx on video just because at that time I thought it was an inconvenience. It's like, guys, we need to, I just want to harvest the animal. I want to kill the animal real quick here. And if we get the camera out, we're going to screw it up. And it's like, I shouldn't have viewed it that way. I should have viewed it as a challenge. Like, no, let's adjust. If we got to change the stock up or whatever, get the camera out, and anyways, it's for me personally, it's like, if I view it as a challenge, I'll do it. If I view it as an inconvenience, it doesn't work,
You're 1,000,000%. It's all perception. And I think you nailed it, man. But here's the deal. After hunting season, let's get back on the horn, shoot the breeze, and I want to hear about your season. I'll let you know how the elk hunt went, and
cool.
Maybe you should Florida, and I take you and show you a little bit of this East Coast love.
No, I would be all over it, man. Don't invite me, dude, because I'll show up like tomorrow. So,
listen, like, don't ask me to do something because I will, in fact, do it. So let's keep in touch, man. I want to thank all the audience out there. Thank you guys so much for putting up with us. We've probably been on the phone for about an hour or two, and it's been a lot of fun. Jay Scott and his crew, they're the leaders in this whole outdoor podcast game, and you always have wonderful guests on that have cool perspectives and are leaders at what they do. So I want to tell you personally, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. Everybody who took the time to listen, thank you guys so much. It means the world to me, and I appreciate y'all very much.
Cool. Thanks, Robert. And everybody can get on there and follow you at DearMeatForDinner on YouTube. It's not hard to find. But anyways, thanks a ton, Robert. I really appreciate it, man.
Thanks a lot, man. We go.
See ya. All right, guys. So thanks for listening. I really had a good time with that episode with Robert. He's a great guy. Go check him out on his YouTube channel. Tons of good adventures on there. If you want to keep in touch with me, check out my YouTube channel. It's just Cliff Gray on YouTube. You can just stick it in the search bar there, or you can just go to youtube.com/Cliff Gray. You can also get on my newsletter at pursuitwithcliff.com, or you can follow me on Instagram at CLIFFGRY. Thanks, guys.